The firefighter fell from a height while fighting a fire. He clutched the young girl he had just rescued tightly before landing safely. Luckily, both remained unharmed. Suddenly, he heard someone calling him. When he turned around, he saw two in black smiling at him beneath the perilous building. The firefighter told them to leave, but then he saw himself lying on the ground. It turns out he had died. The man in black were the messengers of the underworld, responsible for taking him to the afterlife. With a wave of the messenger's hand, he was sucked into a ball of light. Here, he was surrounded by recently deceased individuals, all of whom needed to undergo trials for the 7 deadly sins. Only those found innocent in all 7 trials could be reincarnated. After death, human must undergo judgments in the underworld to be reincarnated. First trial, the desire to kill. The ground cracked open, revealing the hell of burning coals. Those judged guilty were thrown into it. Yama, the king of the underworld, appeared and questioned the man about why he had abandoned his colleague during a fire rescue mission, resulting in the colleague's death. The guilt-ridden firefighter remained silent. The judge decided to punish him by sending him into the fiery pit. However, the underworld messenger quickly stepped forward and revealed the truth. During that rescue mission, the colleague was pinned down and unable to move. His colleague had asked him to save others first. The firefighter risked his life to rescue 8 people before returning to help his colleague. The building collapsed. After learning the truth, the king of the underworld declared him innocent. He passed the first trial. Second trial, the Hell of Sloth. This trial was meant to judge whether a person had wasted their life. The king of Chujiang was quite satisfied with the man and asked what had motivated him to work so hard in life. The man replied that it was for money. The king of Chujiang's smile instantly froze as he revealed that in the underworld, money was considered a false god, and worshipping it was a grave sin. With a command, the king of Chujiang pushed the firefighter's bamboo raft out. When the firefighter turned around, he saw a terrifying sight below the waterfall. There was a massive grinding wheel with countless souls running on top of it. They were all the lost souls of hell, punished for their laziness in life, condemned to run ceaselessly, and those who couldn't run were crushed. Terrified, the firefighter was pulled back by the messenger, who summoned a mirror and allowed the king of Chujiang to see the firefighter's life once again. It turned out that the firefighter worked 4 jobs, delivered groceries after work, cleaned floors at a public bathhouse on weekends, and worked as a designated driver at night, all to support his sick mother and younger brother. It was all for the sake of money, being enslaved by it. But was there really a sin in that? Upon learning of the firefighter's hardships, the king of Chujiang declared him innocent.
The guy grabs a jar, chugs down what's inside, not caring at all about the pee smell. But when he turns around, his colleague's already subdued by a muscle dude.
놔줘라. 너 깨버리면 넌 끝이야.
내려놔라. 그거 현동이 밤에 오줌 싸고 똥 싸는 요강이야. 그걸 왜 처먹니?
Black, frustrated, decides to fight House with force, but
잘못했습니다. 용서해주세요. 죄송합니다.
turns out House ain't no regular guy. He's a guardian god on Earth. This morning, Black and White got a mission. An old man should have died long ago, but hasn't. Every time the Reaper comes for his soul, House scares him off. To send the old man to hell, the duo decides to smash the jar holding House's soul. But they not only got the jar wrong, they also got subdued by House. House says he won't let anyone take the old man because the old man's grandson starts school in 40 days. The boy's got no parents and gets debt collectors knocking every day. Only when the kid's in school can he leave with peace of mind. Though House can overpower the Reaper, he can't control humans. When loan sharks come knocking, he can't stand up for himself. He's even bullied around. That's when Black and White show up, saying they can help House, but he must help them regain their memories, because their memories have been wiped by the King of Hell. Only House, now a god, can awaken them. House, unable to attack humans, agrees. In an instant, the debt collectors are wiped out. With House's help, the two recalled their origins. Black was a warrior from 1,000 years ago, stationed on the border for years. White was a girl from the village of women, who fled into the deep mountains on the border, with orphan children due to frequent wars, but passed away early. Afterwards, House also talked about the old man's debt reasons. It turned out that after the child's parents passed away, the old man received a subsidy to ensure long-term income. Persuaded by House, the old man bought stocks, but they kept plummeting. House thought they wouldn't fall anymore, so persuaded the old man to borrow more at high interest rates, to buy more stocks, waiting for an increase. Never expected the stocks to plummet straight to the center of the earth. If the guardian god could go to hell, House might be at the bottom layer of hell. On the other side, Black and White's superior, Jay, were also carrying out his tasks. Yesterday, he guided a deceased soul, who once embodied as a fierce ghost, and was to be sent to the 18th level of hell. But Jay found out the soul died unjustly. Jay went to the King of Hell and decided to seek justice for the soul. However, the King of Hell made a demand for them to find out the truth of the unjust death of the soul and retrieve the soul guarded by the guardian god within 49 days. So they had to split up. Although Black and White don't remember their origins, Jay does. Jay was the son of a general from 1,000 years ago. During a certain battle, the general adopted an orphan and taught him all his skills. This made Jay very jealous. Jay often challenged his brother to fights, but was quickly defeated. During the battle with the village of women, the father decided to let Jay stay at home while taking the adopted son to the battlefield. Jay felt very angry, but didn't realize this was the last time he would see his father. Although they won the battle, Jay lost his father. After his father's death, he replaced his father as the general and sent his own brother to guard the border. And at this time on the border, White was in the mountains looking for food, but accidentally encountered a tiger. The tiger took her away. In a critical moment, an arrow hit the tiger's front paw. It was Black's army. The tiger pounced. Black picked up his long knife, stabbed the tiger in the chest with one stroke, and the tiger fell with a roar. Afterwards, Black followed White to her home. Seeing all the orphans here, Black softened. Not only did he not follow the orders of his superiors to eliminate the orphan children of the village of women, but also sent them food and clothes. As they got along, they became more familiar, but also found out that Black was the warrior who came to the village of women to slaughter and killed White's parents. Hearing this, Black froze. He didn't know how to face White. The next day when they went out, every time White thought of Black killing her parents, she didn't want to talk to him. But what she didn't know was, when Black realized his mistake, he not only stayed to teach the children how to survive, but also hid the deaths of his subordinates from his superiors, and gave the general's rations to the children. Although to the children, he was a good person, but to the country, he was a criminal. When Black's false report of military information was discovered, his superiors decided to send him to the deep mountains to feed the wild beasts. But Black was skilled in martial arts and escaped from the wolf pack. He dragged his severely injured body, walked 100 miles of snowy roads, and returned to where the children were hiding, urging the children to escape quickly, while he stayed behind to block the general alone. Seeing Black guarding the children with his life, White hugged him tightly, deciding to let go of hatred. But unfortunately, in the real world, while they were out, debt collectors smashed up the old man's home, and he collapsed on the ground. The jar containing the soul of House was also shattered, and House was about to disappear. On the other side, to find out the truth about the unjust soul, Jay brought the soul of the witness who saw the unjust soul's death to hell. Although the unjust soul was shot by a misfired gun before his death, his real cause of death was when the witness clearly saw him still breathing, but still treated him as a dead body and buried him alive, suffocating him to death. The witness dared not speak the truth due to the mental pressure. He died during the interrogation. Jay had to summon the soul of the killer who buried the unjust soul alive. Although it was he who gave the order to bury the unjust soul alive, he was unwilling to admit his crime. To make him speak the truth, Jay had to exchange his own secret. It turned out Jay was the superior general of Black 1,000 years ago. He was Black's brother. Out of jealousy, he exiled Black to the border, and it was him who killed Black with a sword. Just after he killed Black, White appeared behind him and stabbed a dagger into Jay's body. At the moment of death, Jay killed White, and the three of them died together in the snow. Before Jay died, the King of Hell came to take him and let him become an envoy of Hell along with the other two. But because Jay's sins were grave, the King of Hell retained his memories. Because Jay not only killed White and Black, but also on the battlefield, out of resentment towards his father, ignored his father who was still alive. Although he regretted it afterwards, by the time he rushed back to the battlefield, his father had already passed away. Jay didn't want the killer to regret like himself, At Jay's persuasion, the killer finally spoke the truth, and after returning to the human world, he voluntarily surrendered to the police. The unjust soul who received an apology could reincarnate, and the king of hell also allowed the old man to be taken to hell. After the children graduated from elementary school, the three continued to serve as envoys of hell, and the stocks the old man once bought finally rebounded. People always make all sorts of mistakes, but compared to making mistakes, what's scarier is evading them. Only by truly facing one's own mistakes and making changes can one find the path to the freedom of the soul. The movie is called Along with the Gods, The Last 49 Days, which is the sequel to Along with the Gods, The Two Worlds. It mainly tells the story of how the soul of the firefighter, the protagonist of the first movie, successfully reincarnates, and how his brother's soul finds out the truth about his death and his journey to reincarnation. In the process, the past of 3 hell messengers is revealed. In the first movie, it mainly describes that all deceased individuals must undergo 7 trials within 49 days after death, taking place respectively in the hells of homicide, laziness, deceit, injustice, betrayal, violence, and familial discord. Only those who pass all 7 trials and are declared innocent have the chance to attain rebirth. A firefighter tragically sacrifices himself to save a child in a fire. The emissary of hell appears before him. At the entrance to hell, he encounters his superior, Jay, who will defend him in the upcoming 7 trials. If you are interested in the plot of the first movie, feel free to visit my channel homepage and watch God is Watching What You Are Doing.